and I'm not seeing who else might be in the room, to start playing at higher capacity and higher caliber the game of seeds. And thank you all for coming. Thank you, Basil, for making this intersection of hoops of humans and bringing several different hoops together. The World Unity Week, the Voices of Water, the Watershed Wisdom Councils, and of course SEEDS and D Studios. So take it away, Basil.
Oh, I'm going to introduce Jay Brave. So it's on you. Here we go.
Thank you. Yes, you may see my name on here, Joel Bravette. Jay Brave is, I say my alter ego, but my stage name. But yeah, Joel J. Bravette. Thank you, Basil, for introducing me, and thank you as well so much, Elizabeth, for the wonderful work you've been doing in producing all of the events for this World Unity Week. So this evening's, or speaking to you live from London, and so excuse me if I keep referring to the evening and the night, but today's conversation is entering the era of seeds. Are you ready to play? And so I hope that this will be quite an interesting and informative conversation. I am yet to fulfill my full citizenship of SEEDS and the SEEDS community, but I believe that we're talking to some guests this evening who will be able to elaborate a lot more on the game of SEEDS and how to play. So I would like to introduce my guests. First of all, I have John Baselli.
Greetings, pleasure to be here. Thank you guys, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. We also have Troy Mork.
Hey guys, nice to see you.
Excellent, thank you very much. And we also have Nila Fee as well.
Hi everyone.
Can I make a request that we just kind of say where we are on the planet?
Good.
And even mention your watershed if you know it.
I don't know. Yeah, go for it, Troy.
Yeah, I'm in Portland, Oregon.
As I mentioned before, I'm in London, in the UK.
The Thames.
The Thames, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am in Zarautz, Spain, northern Spain, close to the French border, Basque country.
I am in Berkeley, California. I don't think I know the watershed, but there's a lot of lakes and rivers that I go here and swim. I should know.
The mighty Delta,
The
San
mighty
Joaquin,
Delta.
Sacramento Delta.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. So I think I just want to, I suppose, open the conversation really by first of all just discussing what is SEEDS. I've only learned about SEEDS myself in the last 6 or 7 months, and it's already taken me on a very interesting journey. I've learned a lot, but I think it'd be really good to maybe hear from Nila to understand a little bit more about SEEDS.
Sure. Jay, I'm just going to correct you a little bit. It's Nyla. But it's totally cool and happens to everyone. No worries. So I think probably one of the best ways to describe SEEDS in a really simple way is the 2-minute history of money and SEEDS. We started out exchanging money because it was easier than having to memorize all of the values of goods in relation to one another. So the value of apples in relation to rice, the relation of rice to corn, the relation of corn to lettuce, the relation of lettuce to building materials. And that can become very, very complex very quickly in the barter system. So we created money as a source to everything relates to money, and then money relates to everything else. So we can agree on a value. Now, originally money was valuable, or what was considered valuable or scarce materials like gold or silver. And that immediately puts a mentality of scarcity on this value. It has to be scarce in order to be valuable. Well, I think Elizabeth can probably tell you that water is extremely valuable and it's not scarce. We just have to take care of it. So when that scarcity mentality also creates a situation of a combative nature, a competitive nature, where if it's mine, it's not yours. If it's yours, it's not mine, and I want it, and you can't have it, and that immediately causes conflict. Now, as little as 250 years ago, in places like Guatemala and Central America, there were other forms of currency, such as seeds, that were used because why? They're tiny, they're easy to transport. And if you plant them, they turn into things that are incredibly valuable, like food and shelter. The other part of that is if you don't plant them, if you can't use them, they're going to die. So share them. Share what you don't need with people who do have the time and the capacity to plant them and grow them into something. Now, this promotes a sharing mentality. It gives you the sense of abundance. There's always enough. Enough as I can handle. I mean, you've heard the term, like, they've got more money than they know what to do with. Well, you would never have more seeds than you know what to do with, because you give away the ones that you can't use. Otherwise, they're worthless. Now, here comes SEEDS, the cryptocurrency. Now, here is a place where we're aligning currency, cryptocurrency in this case, with what we value most in this world, and that is people and planet. And through that, we all have prosperity. So that's SEEDS in a nutshell, if you will. We can get into how the algorithms are designed to incentivize regenerative behaviors to empower people and regenerate the planet. But that's the overall nutshell.
No, that's excellent. I think that was, really, really succinct. It's definitely given me some follow-up questions. But I think first, I'd love to hear maybe from John or Troy, if they could speak to how they came to be associated with this idea of SEEDS and what they're doing as part of this SEEDS world.
Go ahead, Troy. Why don't you go ahead?
Let me unmute. There we go. Yeah, so I came into SEEDS through Alex Prate, and he's one of the founding members of the SEEDS, and we were building apps for developing mindfulness, and that's how our working relationship started. And then once the foundations of SEEDS really started to take place, he asked me to come in, and to help, build the movement. And I kind of came in and just kind of lurked around for a while, just kind of seeing what this whole thing is about, because I didn't really quite grasp, the whole thing. But once, about a month in, I said, "Oh, okay, I see what they're doing," and I saw a place, where I'd be able to contribute in some way. So here I am.
Excellent. And John?
All right, guys, I'm not as succinct and grounded like this too. As you guys can see, there's instruments around. I'm an artist, so I tend to go a little, get a little airy. I'll try my best to ground the energy. That's one of my challenges in life. I think for me, I think I'm gonna tell from more like a body sensation, energetic aspect of things, because encountering SEEDS and the community, it was almost like waking up from a dream. That I was like already like, it was just so like, it was so clear that I was dreaming. I've been trying to relate with common workspaces and the relationship of work, right? It's been bothering me for so long. And part of me was like, you're such a spoiled brat. Like, you just cannot work for people, like, you know, all this, you know, story in my head. But like, I just don't agree. I think it's weird. People abuse each other. There's a lot of people taking advantage. And, you know, also being an artist, I think one of those woes of being an artist is kind of like, how can I survive? You know, like art is hard, man. And it's just never really, I could never finish the equation of like, why is so hard to live with my art? And at the same time, everyone consumes art, especially music. Like, what is the missing link, right? So the past few years before meeting SEEDS, I was kind of already like, as I said, I was like dreaming, I think, in the old paradigm of like work and trying to just like find my way. And it was just like not really flowing. Like, yeah, here and there, made some money here, some projects, also gathering experience. I cannot really, you know, disregard that time. But like when I think I encountered SEEDS and the community, it was like, oh, okay, this is, you know, this is what it's you've been waiting for this whole time. It was just like this wake up call, right? And it's funny enough because just a few months before that, I all of a sudden started getting into crypto. I had no idea why. I mean, I was hearing about crypto since 2012 here in San Francisco, you know, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll get into that at some point when the time is right. And then I think 3-4 months before, I was like, okay, I need to learn this. And then like diving into this, and then all of a sudden, oh, okay, oh, SEEDS, what? Like, it was so weird, right? And I was already trying to put the concepts of, you know, decentralized workspaces and blockchain and smart contracts into music. I was already kind of formatting that in my head. And all of a sudden I meet these people in this group and it's all kind of like ready in front of me, right? So it was kind of that journey of like getting out of this weird dream state, like almost sleepwalking through work life, trying to find my place. And all of a sudden I encountered SEEDS and I started working with them and I feel really seen. I feel really empowered. I feel like the group and the community, it's really aligned to my thoughts and beliefs of this new earth that I'm trying to build. So that's kind of my backstory on how, you know, I came into SEEDS. Is, yeah, sleepwalking, and all of a sudden the little ding ding from Time, Pink Floyd, like, oh, time to wake up, and then here I am. I don't want to be as grounded.
It was really good, really inspiring. I mean, it's made me want to share as well from my own perspective how I came to be part of the SEEDS community. And Basil will be able to attest that it was actually New Year's when I was honored to be invited to host some of the New Year celebration and ceremony, which was part of the One Voice Trust with some of the Sami people in particular who I had the connection with in Sweden, where the fire was first lit. And it was while talking with people amongst that community that I got to meet Basil and some of the others. And they then just kind of explaining to me, like, you know, about SEEDS, which was the platform hosting the event. I mean, it very much spoke to me in regards to the regenerative outlook that I already have for life, and just wondering why, like, we grow up to be so wasteful. But now as a parent myself, I start to look at the literature that we have for our children, and as innocent as a lot of it seems at first glance, it actually begins what I can only call a dangerous propagandization of, like, you know, our children to understand the world has been a built environment and not having a connection with nature. And so it was when I then found that, likewise to you, Jean, that I was starting to understand, like, that cryptocurrency was this option, and that people were starting to understand that fiat currency wasn't a singular narrative that we all had to align with. As those kind of like thoughts converged, and then I heard that there was a conscious currency, SEEDS, which then I also learned not only it's not just a cryptocurrency, it also has a world and a governance and a community built around it. It kind of like spoke to me immediately. But I think the question that I actually want to ask as a follow-on then to Nyla is, in this world that is now so full of other like cryptocurrencies, and people maybe seeing this as a cryptocurrency, like what is it that defines Seeds differently? What is it about the system around it that makes Seeds so different to other cryptocurrencies?
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for sharing your story. I think I would start with saying the Seeds serves something much larger, which is the regenerative renaissance. And that is not a revolution in where you dethrone the people in power and someone else rises up and then the same thing happens again. But a renaissance, which is a rebirth of something completely new, towards not just restoring our environment, but regenerating it back to its natural glory, pun intended. So it doesn't matter if Seeds is the currency that emerges. What matters is that this regenerative renaissance makes it to the mainstream. That's what is important to all of us at the core. And the way that Seeds community is hoping to do that is to empower people and individuals to feel like they can, each and every one of us, power and the ability to enact change. And we can do it together. But that the Seeds ecosystem itself has a built-in, it has built into it a way for us to govern ourselves directly, rather than to, like in the United States, for example, we have a representative democracy where you represent, and hopefully they do the things that you elected them to do. But if they don't, there's nothing you can do about it until they get reelected. But in a direct democracy, you vote directly on those things that you want to happen. And that's the way that the Seeds ecosystem is designed. So it really empowers people to enact the change that resonates particularly with them. And that, I think, is probably one of the main differences between what a lot of other players in the crypto world are doing. But again, Seeds doesn't have to be the only one to emerge. And if a bunch of regenerative currencies emerge, that would be fantastic. I haven't actually come across one that is as complete as the Seeds ecosystem, in the sense that every single thing, every detail has been thought of and ironed out and put forward for the community to debate and co-create with.
Excellent. I feel that in today's society, especially with the direction that social media has gone, or in fact tech at large over the last, say, decade, that people's tolerance maybe for gamification is at an all-time high, and people need to feel engaged. And I suppose, yeah, as I've come to understand, like, you know, the Seeds interface, I wonder if you think that it actually, with how people's minds have ultimately, I think people have, the idea of being a citizen, which is something inherent to Seed and something so important, and something that also spoke to me straight away, has, I think, been lost in society at large. And I'll start with that. I feel that people have become consumers rather than citizens, and people, again, here in the UK, especially what we've learned during this global pandemic, is that people will be eager to call the authorities on their neighbor, maybe breaking the lockdown rules for, like, you know, a small cash reward. And like the idea of solidarity with the people who are around you is kind of gone. So I suppose the question that I'm getting to is, when in creating a conscious, like, currency, as beautiful as it is, do you think that people are ready for adoption of something like it? And how do we kind of, I suppose, bridge that gap to where people are, and I suppose the people who we will want them to be who we would want to be to begin creating or to begin enacting fully this regenerative renaissance?
I don't people are necessarily ready, which is why Troy is the leader of a wonderful group called Game of Seeds, which is designed specifically to help people understand and engage in that mindset before becoming a citizen. You know, a lot of the really incredible work that Troy has been doing is a shift. Oh,
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there.
yeah, I need to switch to my data, I think.
So, I mean, well, it did sound like you though, Troy, anyway, to maybe elaborate a little bit more on the Game of Seeds.
Yeah, sure. So, the Game of Seeds emerged from, this concept that I had when I first came in. I saw a big gap between the people who are currently building seeds, and then the rest of the world. And there's this, I saw this huge expanse of just these, really type A personalities, really, focused individuals, people who get things done. And those are all the personality types that, it took to build the foundations. And yet, there's the rest of the population, 99.99999% of the population is not those people. And that's the people that we're really serving. And so through that, this concept of the Game of Seeds emerged, where, well, we knew, we had to help people acclimate to the seeds ecosystem, and adapt to it, and eventually thrive within it. And that would be, based around, a lot of education. But sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Do you, I suppose, yeah, you were just talking at large about that adoption of the 99%, I suppose. And I suppose from my leading question that I'd asked Nyla before, I was just wondering, yeah, how much is that game adapted for, for ubiquity? Would it be something that everybody will be able to acclimatize to?
Yeah, and that's certainly the goal, because there's a lot of really complex, information that one, needs to really understand to take advantage of everything that the seeds ecosystem has to offer. I look at seeds as a place where, your dreams can come true. Whatever you want to do, we now have a platform that can help you do that. But in order to do that, you need to be able to utilize all the tools that the seeds ecosystem is providing. And so that's the main goal, is to help everyone learn everything they need to learn, but find their own path. Because a lot of people don't even know what their passion is or what their purpose is in life. And so that sometimes, that could be the first step, is self-discovery. But that is the goal, is to help make all this really complex information really palatable, but also fun at the same time, because why shouldn't it be fun?
Exactly, and people are geared up to need rewards, and they need them like every 5 minutes, don't they? So how do we? But at the same time, I think that is also something. It's a dangerous thing that we need like weaning off of. I think that it's something that we can easily end up down that rabbit hole, but it's actually not something that we're necessarily prone to. I think that the idea of like pleasure delaying or kind of like holding back has become like lost on a generation, which is like now glutted on everything from produce products to the mass commercialization of our world. So I think actually it would be good to be able to start a game that can work in the other direction, creating rewards for people's patience rather than for their like persistence.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are you thinking about this, Sean?
I feel like you read my mind. I'm thinking that people probably are not ready. I mean, some of them, yeah. I think there's a very, there's degrees of gray, shades of gray, right? Into that, I think, but I don't think it matters. Because I mean it's unknown territory in some ways. I feel like decentralized currencies have been experimented before, even in Brazil where I'm from. I know of collective of people that were trying to do that, but I think with the blockchain technology things kind of shifted a little bit, because one of the problems in Brazil was the lack of transparency. It started having a price on humans' greed and ego, and there's megalomaniac and people and politics got involved. It was such a beautiful project because I've joined them when I was in college, and it was a beautiful project, but it really got destroyed by a lot of fundamental human being impulses. And I'm not saying that this is part, I think, what we're trying to build with the world of seeds, right? I think the world of seeds for me also feels like, yeah, build the world you believe in. Like, why not? Like when I'm designing like my share of this, which is the music aspect of things, right? The music decentralized organization that we're talking about, DHO. Every time I start typing something, I was like, oh no, but this is such a trip. Like no one's gonna get it. Like, wait, why not? Right? Like, why not? Like, why not do those things? So there's a lot of things I think is in the universe that is unknown territory, and people don't have to be ready, and they won't be ready. But we're here, also not being ready, kind of doing the walk with them, like just going through this uncharted waters and just see where it goes. If it's gonna fail, succeed, fail halfway, fail 70% of it, I have no idea, right? But I think that's the beauty of the process, which is, at least I feel like this group is very, very engaged to building the world that we live in with the tools that are available to us right now. And half of us, or even more of us, don't know where it's going to go. We're trying, and we're doing our best to, with the game of seeds, for example, is like, how can we build the membrane, Nyla? Now I used to say bridge, but I think membrane is actually a very beautiful metaphor here. How can we build that membrane of like, you're going to transition out of this world to this new world, and then you can go back, right? Like, whoa, oh, okay, like let's get and back, here and back, right? I often tell my peers when I'm explaining this environment, it's like, take as big of a bite as you're hungry for right now. Like, you don't have to take the whole pie, and if you're not, you can just nibble at it and go back and come back after it 3 months later. We'll be doing our thing, right? So I think what I'm thinking about is probably people are not ready. I think there is potential and there is the desire to do so. Hell yeah, there's a lot of people dreaming about a new earth and a new world, but a lot of us have no idea where it's going to go, right? And I think that's part of the adventure as well. And our job also feels like to create that transition with as much ease as possible. Although sometimes you'll be turbulent, and that's okay. But we're trying, right? We're trying to, for example, my role in this whole thing, my main role, I would say, was building the music, right? And I think that's often where I was coming back to, is like, okay, like music. All right, so people are going to relate to, how do I build this music environment that is familiar, but also engaging, but also wondrous. I don't know that word, like wonderful of wonder. And there's some mystery, right? I feel like the musical journey for me was really about that, building all those elements inside this musical environment so people can feel accommodated, also feel safe, but also engaged. And it's like, like, you know, I've always imagined every time I was scoring the pieces, like walking to this, like, you know, big meta universe of like unknown, and people are like, whoa, I'm losing my feet, but this is so cool. What the hell is that? Oh, okay, here's the ground. All right. I've always imagining that journey, you know. And anyway, again, a very, very artistic answer for a very simple question, but I think it's part of the journey to not be ready, and I think that's okay. I think we're developing something that we all believe in, and most of the times we don't know what's gonna be, but that's fine too, right? Maybe you all disagree with me. I don't know.
No, I agree. I think, like, again, what it really embodies is what Nyla was saying before about the difference between the representative democracy, again, which we also have here in the UK. And I think it's the democracy that we're sold at large around the world, but it is not a democracy at all. I mean, and ultimately as well, in the era that we live now, it is also like not necessary. I can understand why, like maybe 600 years ago, before the industrial age, you needed, like, you know, the local lord to go and represent you, like, you know, but now everybody like has access to the same digital platforms. There's no reason why there shouldn't be direct democracy. And I think what you're kind of like driving at there about the fact that when you're all involved in it together, like, you know, yeah, the uncharted territory doesn't need to be so scary, because we're going far rather than going fast by doing it together, which is great. One of the things that I have seen happening though, and I'm just wondering who might best speak to it, is because, as you said, like, you know, we currently exist in a world which is still within the wider like, you know, fiat mainstream narrative, like world, is that there are people who, in seeing the opportunity with the cryptocurrency, will be purchasing seeds or using seeds for arbitrage or for wider use outside of community use. And I was just wondering whether or not within the game of seeds, or within, like, you know, how seeds has been developed, there is a way to kind of ensure the long-term community, let me say, purity. Is there a way of making sure that, like, seeds or that the seeds that we have and how the community is developed isn't something that is gained from, like, outsiders for other kind of like benefits? You seem like you're pondering that.
I'd like to take a crack at that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I see I've switched to data and I see my internet is still.
No, you
touching.
sound perfectly. That's great.
Okay. So part of how we are establishing that we've got good people essentially at the heart of this is through what we call the web of trust. And that just means that no matter who you are, you've either been invited or you've introduced yourself to the community and they're like, okay, you're in. And that is just a way to ensure that we don't have bots, that each and every person has been vetted in a way, even if it's just a little vet, like, yeah, you're human, you seem to be a good person, we'll let you try. But that's also why we've got limits on the amount of cryptocurrency that you can buy in time frames, so that you can't just buy millions of seeds and manipulate the market. We've also got, I mean, the citizenship journey is such that you can't start dictating how we govern ourselves just because you've invested a lot of money. Even if you've invested a lot of money, you still have to go through that process to become a citizen, to earn the right to participate and co-create with the other citizens of SEEDS. in terms of arbitrage and other kind of money-making schemes, if it's a passive income, why not? I mean, that's what DeFi is all about, and decentralized finance. And we've created the Harvest protocol, which isn't active yet, but at some point that's designed to create a kind of passive, not universal basic income, but a universal earned income where you kind of get out the energy that you've put in. And the idea behind all of this is really prosperity for the planet and prosperity for all the people involved. So of course we want you to live in a world of abundance, and if that means making money, then make money. But hopefully, having gone through this journey, you'll understand that money is not the only thing that's important.
Excellent. I suppose, yeah, again, for me, I remember reading a book, Kate Rayworth's book, Donut Economics, a couple of years ago. And it really impressed on me a number of things. But one of the ideas, which again, in the current narrative and how I think a lot of, at least my peers and people in the society as I know it here would understand, is that like money has become like a thing in its own right. But it's that memory that like money was only ever meant to be a tool, like you described in that first story. It was meant to be a measure that allowed, like, you know, people to quite quickly and efficiently derive like value between like different things. But it kind of took on its own narrative, and then people, you know, being the people that we are, have begun like hoarding the money. And it was the idea, I remember, of demurrement, that instead, that if you hold money for a long period of time, that it actually starts accruing charges rather than accruing interest, so that you actually put it back into the system so that it can actually work for everybody as tools are meant to, rather than laying dormant in somebody's shed. So I think, yeah, again, the reason I mentioned that is in my understanding of SEEDS and how it differs, as we kind of like really quite quickly touched on and recognized, is how the projects and proposals that are put forward to the SEEDS community, like how that works, and how that route to prosperity, that I suppose, how would you envision that through like how the SEEDS network works, and the proposals and the projects that SEEDS citizens and organizations are embarking on?
Well, first I want to respond to something that you touched on, which is if all of your needs are met, what do you need money for? So money is I mean, essentially it is a tool. It's a facilitator of other things. So why not just go straight to those other things? Like, I want money so that I can live by the beach. Just, if you can live by the beach, do you still need money? And then for what? I know that Troy has done a lot of incredible work on wrapping people around these open questions. But the kinds of proposals that we are seeing are, I mean, there are so many beautiful projects from like World Wildlife Foundation, who are trying to repopulate the Caspian forest in Romania by planting trees, to Sustainable Human, who's just telling really amazing stories about the planet and what we're doing with it, to awaken people to that fact, to I mean, the World Watershed with Elizabeth and the amazing work she's doing with water. I mean, there's so many, getting people to, we've got retreat spaces on there. We've got so many different projects where it's really about how people have sat with themselves, ideally. And we have this process of proposals with purpose and the proposals nursery, to identify how they want to show up in this space. And if that is, I want people to move their bodies more, and I want to give away seeds to everyone who participates in my online ecstatic dance, Or I really want to build something with my hands and grow a community permaculture garden. Or I really want to revolutionize the way that we remunerate artists in the online space, or whatever it is that they feel like is gonna create this magical new world. None of us know what this new world looks like. We're figuring it out based on all of the input that we're collecting. And each person is like, well, in my version of this magical new world, we have this. In my version of this magical new world, we have this. And propose that. If the people of SEEDS are like, yeah, I'd want that in my magical world too, then it goes through. And that's how we kind of align around our shared values for, I would actually even add people, planet, prosperity, and play. Because we all want to enjoy this new world we're creating, hopefully, because that's really the point of all of it, right? Is we want to be happy and we want to push that happiness through to the next generation and many generations after that.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think as well. Yeah, as a parent of a toddler and have another daughter on the way who will be Earthside in September, all being well. Just as I was mentioning earlier as well, I become aware that I don't want my children to be part of the system that I grew up in. It's a waste ultimately of a life. It's so funny that people, I mean, to this day, can sit and laugh as they kind of read that eat, sleep, work, repeat, eat, sleep, work, repeat, and they'll laugh it off. But I'm like, that's literally what we're doing. Our lives were meant to be this creative canvas that we could paint whatever. But in essence, we're all becoming one big Excel spreadsheet because the world model currently chases GDP and looks for shareholder value, as opposed to human value and human capital. And so for me, I think, yeah, anything that can embody that, like you said, is a win-win. If SEEDS ends up being the project or being the protocol that everybody's able to attach themselves to, and it takes us there, great. But anything that kind of brings on that regenerative renaissance, all power to it. But yeah, I see you nodding there, Troy, as well. I'm just wondering if any comments to add.
I mean, Nyla summed it up pretty well. The main thing, there's two parts to it. Is one, that it has a positive impact on the planet, and then the second part of it is that the players get rewarded for participating. I mean, it's a win for everybody, and like Nyla said, I mean, why wouldn't you? If you can get rewarded, get seeds, whatever it is that you find value in, and if you can get rewarded by doing something that you would probably do anyway for free, hey, that's a pretty good starting point.
And do you think it's incentivized enough, or it actually has enough to pull people out of the old world? Again, using John's analogy of the pie, that we don't have to take it all, we can nibble at it. But at what point do you think that people can take the pie and stop nibbling at it? Is there what is the vision of the size of the ecosystem and what role SEEDS plays in it?
I mean, the more people and organizations that come in, they're going to be the creators of the game, right? And the things that they create, whether it be art or a product or a service, that's going to be a new reward for somebody at some point in some way. So what's the future? Yeah, I mean, the more people that come in, then the more available it's going to be for everybody.
Excellent. And Jean, just thinking about your music that you were saying you were making, I'm just wondering, I've been trying to think, how does the music fit into the SEEDS ecosystem? What are you doing with you're rolling your head and your eyes there, but yes, I'd love a little insight.
You know, Mortal Kombat, the fatality, you just like did a fatality here, like da, 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 back B punch, like you kind of just knocked out me here. This is such a hard question, dude. I mean, music is integral, I think. I mean, I'm biased, you know, I do this for a living. It really touches me in ways that is, I don't know, it's extrasensorial, to kind of pull back what we were talking before the event started. But I think music is just so integral. And as I said, my unconformity, is that the word in English? Not being in conformity, before entering SEEDS was always, as I said, like, why are artists struggling? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, you go out, like, there was a part of me when I was a teenager, like, starting to try to make money with music, and, you know, not making money with music. I wanted to so that every musician went on a strike. That was my dream. If I could ever get like musicians to go on a strike for one day, I want to see what is going to happen to the world, right? I remember thinking that, like, because people don't understand this. They underestimate the value of music and art in their life. So I think kind of just to kind of like tie back to the question you're asking about the projects as well, I feel like SEEDS at first, and there's a lot of potential. When I first encountered, I first saw as an enabler, as Nyla and Troy were saying. I feel like, yeah, I think that the example was really beautiful, Nyla. Like, once your needs are met, like, what's next? I think that's so beautiful, because we're living in a mindset of scarcity, right? Like, we're built to believe that there's not enough, therefore you have to cut throat of everyone around you to survive, right? And that's not really what Mother Earth shows us, right? Like, but anyway, I'm not even gonna, that's very, very side subject that I want to get into. But once your needs are met, and I think we're trying to also build that part with SEEDS as well, but I think that's going to come later down the line. But like, what is next, right? I think you can see on, you know, billionaires, millionaires, whatever, like, they are, some of them are patrons of the arts. They want to regenerate forests. They want to help schools, right? I feel like as human beings, maybe I'm too romantic, but there's also, once we get out of the survival mode, you kind of want to take care of your peers, right? Like, it's preserving the species in a way, right? Like, okay, I'm taking care of, like, now I want to take care of everyone around me because I can, right? So I feel like SEEDS right now, in my view, it's an enabler for that, right? And I think by creating this currency that we have in all the projects, and the ability to change and exchange, you know, with, oh, I'm gonna give some seeds to this project because I believe, or this and this and this, and when I saw, you know, as kind of tying back to your question, when music could fit into that, I was like, oh, cool. Maybe this could be a way to kind of start generating a little value to the musicians in my record label. All right, let's think about that, right? And there's also the whole potential of the collective there, right? Okay, we need $15,000 to, you know, create a record from scratch. Like, okay, let's have the community help as well. Like, you know, for one person, 15 is a lot, but, you know, the crowd funding type of vision as well. I think there was also a little bit of the potential I saw. And then going to an even bigger picture, because I'm kind of like, oh, dude, from small, but, and then I was like, okay, so now, as Nyla said as well, like, I feel like this is a model. If it's going to be the model, we don't know, but it's a model, and it's open source, and it's open for everyone. And I think the hope is also to inspire similar, or use the same or similar, or adapt, modify, improvise, but we're trying here, we're providing a model. So now getting the model and kind of feeding that into the music aspect of things as well, knowing the music industry, because that's my background. I've been in the music industry for 10 years, licensing and lawyers and contracts and blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's like, oh, so this model now we can fit into the music world. So what I'm seeing here is like music always will be, I think, enablers as well of new trends, new cultures, right? Music is designing the game of seeds, and moving forward also what I imagine as well is music for me is almost like an energetic architecture. Don't think about this plan. I feel like music is like almost like a blueprint on a different dimension that we don't feel with our five senses. And I feel like that's could be sometimes a solid ground for ideas and for work to happen. So I kind of feel like music could and should permeate the change as well. Growing with seeds, permeating, create the music environment, but also bringing music along and arts. This is what we're doing at the D Studio, to kind of like to tell those stories, to tell the stories of success or the stories where we want to go, where we want to be. And music, I think, is going to really play an integral part as well, right? So I went from the micro to the macro, like, first of all, empowering artists. Second, like, okay, now we have this tool that we can apply to the music industry. And now with the music more empowered, how can we musically create this change? Does that make sense? Did I went a little too far? I really feel like music is like really interwoven. Is that the word? With this whole movement as well.
That really made sense. In fact, I look forward to us connecting better because, I am part of an organization or a media company here in the UK called I Am Sound, and a lot of what you're talking about is on the same wavelength. So I really look forward to us being able to do some projects within the SEEDS community together on that too. I think it would be a good opportunity to open up to some of the other people that we also have in the room if people have some questions or any inputs to the conversation. If anybody would like to raise their hand, and Basil or one of our hosts will be able to facilitate for you.
I think we have Elizabeth. Is that what it is here?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I'm here. When I first came, I'm fairly new to exploring the SEEDS universe, and when I first came in, it seemed so hard to me and so complicated and so just foreign and strange, and I communicated this yesterday a little bit, and suddenly I had an epiphany that it's actually fun to have the challenge, right? That it's a treasure hunt, that it's discovering your way and your place, and each one of you has expressed that you kind of came to it and found something for yourself within this. And I think one thing that a mindset is that we're at this point, certainly in the development of SEEDS, it's still very nascent. It's just beginning. And we don't have to worry about everybody being ready. That there are certain people that will be ready, and these are the first adopters. And the people that are in this call and have been working on this for a year, they're actually the forward scouts, right? And so understanding that we're crossing an unknown territory, and we may have certain maps, but the map is never the territory. And so once you get into the territory, you're really on your own. You have, buddies, you have a tribe, you're starting to form, but you still have to decide where you're being called and who you're being called to respond to. And it's an incredible evolutionary experiment. And that's what's fascinating to me, is this new journey. And we talk about the new world, but I've used the word the true world. Like the new world, it's like, is it new? I mean, our thinking, our relationship to it is new, but the world's still there. And we're changing the way we're relating to it in our relationship. And all this conversation about currency, back to water, truly the current is the currency, and that money or crypto is only a symbol of the relationships, and the part that's happening in our fiat system is that the caliber of our relationships has gotten completely corrupted. by design. And so part of what I see and what really draws me to SEEDS is that there's a high caliber relationship amongst the people of the community, and allows for a lot of room to develop it deeper and further and more authentic and more true. And so I just want to contribute those, and that any exchange is only a symbol of the caliber of our relationship, and it's only valuable when it's in motion, when it's moving. As soon as it stops, it stagnates and it's no longer valuable. So just wanted to add that bit. Thank you.
Can I compliment that, because you hit home in a thing so hard. I was once, I think a few years ago, doing a meditation, and I was asking, spirit or my guides or whatever you want to call it, just meditating. And I was like, I think I first, all this new age stuff we're trying, abundance, resonate, law of attraction. I try all of those. I was asking for more for that, and it never happened. But once I feel like I kind of changed the question, and I asked, like, show me how this works. Show me how abundance works. And then I'm deep in meditation, kind of like journeying almost a little bit. In Brazil, beautiful. Oh, it was beautiful, beautiful. And then I had this vision, kind of like how we are taught in Reiki, which is it's an energy that is wanting to move. And then it was literally that vision that came to me. It was like, okay, so abundance and money, this energy, it's like kind of like how you learn in Reiki. It's like this abundance energy that comes and it wants to kind of like move through you, move through your pores, right? So and in Reiki as well, we kind of learn to kind of like more like be a channel of that movement, rather than like, I'm curing you, here's healing powers. No, it's like, okay, I'm just like serving as this channel. Just like in music, it's the same thing. The more I detach myself as the composer, the genius behind the music, I don't really care about that anymore. It's like, I'm a channel. My role is to get out of the way for music to arrive, right? And I feel like abundance came to me just like you're talking about. Once I understood, I was like, oh, this is an energy, a divine energy, right? A divine energy that wants to come and wants to flow and wants to spread and wants to reach more, just like water, right? Like you're talking about this whole thing that I think we're all interwoven energetically, but like I feel like water really plays in the same way, because whatever water touches sprouts life, right? So I really am starting to see more and more in my meditations. Reiki is like, I imagine a waterfall coming through me, right? So the water that comes and go through my my hands. But anyway, I just wanted to share that because it really resonated with me.
And very quickly, we're taught life is a give and take, right? And I would like to switch that and say, truly, life is a receive and return. But really, what starts the energy flow that you're talking about, that the giving comes first, right? It's when we give and our generosity, and we're able to contribute without expectation of return. It's just free giving. The universe comes in behind us and fills that and starts that flow. So just to kind of your image there is that what starts that? What starts that energy? And really, it's the giving starts it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that as well. That's the water analogy is one of three that I like to use in any system, in any functional, healthy system. And that could be your body, that could be a river, that could be the economy. There has to be a flow. There has to be a current. And when there is dis-ease or disease, that is when there is stagnation. When something's blocked the river, when something's blocked your arteries, or when there's a high concentration of wealth in the economy, that's when the flow and the circulation stops, and then an unhealthy system emerges. So the idea of giving first and getting that flow moving again. And we're doing that with the campaigns, and we're doing that with the alliance chairs. So The idea is like asking community, hey, everyone, where should we give to next? Tell us your ideas, and then we do. So I think that's really beautiful.
Thank you for that contribution as well, Elizabeth. It was, I think, yeah, quite timely as well. The good surmise of, I suppose, like, yeah, some of the wider sentiment, or the larger sentiment, as opposed to some of the intricacies of, yeah, as you said, the currencies. Yeah, again, what can sometimes feel a lot more ephemeral. I just wonder if anybody else has any points that they'd like to raise, or if there's any other questions from any of our guests.
Yeah, can I make some thoughts that I have? Are you listening? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, about the music and about the abundance, and I hear my community in Brazil and have so many friends that are producers and so many friends that are musicians, and I'm right now engaging them with the SEEDS ecosystem and how they facilitating this transition to a new local economy. So we are at a group that are studying how to do it, and it makes me think that as a community we have the potential to use this currency that with SEEDS to empower our unity to focus in some initiatives that we can make together, the producers with the music, and then make flow or energy together with the abundance and the community awareness about what we are doing together, or local government, so places that we have in common, places that we have here in our city. So I was wondering how to use the campaigns locally, and I see my for here so much we doing. I don't know in English how to speak, but we say mutirão. That's where we come together and do a planting someplace, or go to a farm of a friend, and this not only people who are working, but people who are playing music for this, you know, and making local festivals, or this kind of local culture. I believe that this is going to be more approachable from the community, you know, this kind of resources, music, and this kind of, which is yeah, I don't know in English how to say exactly, but I'm very interesting to create this, because here in my communities, it's everyone is artists, and we have to, yeah, do this kind of campaigns together. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you very much for your contribution there. I think, yeah, speaking directly or exactly to the point of how the SEEDS is meant to function, that the work or the projects that people want to get involved in are ultimately, yeah, collaborations. It's about fostering that collective creativity and being able to act on it. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Jean?
Yeah, I believe that the accessibility of this riches of, I don't know in English, sorry, I'm trying to remember, but the accessibility for it should be a local community being together and creating up this new economy system of contributions. But I'm figuring how to to do it exactly.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, Joel, that what you're saying. I mean, being from my home country, I really know the energy. Brazil is so community oriented, and yeah, I've seen so much of this in Brazil. And in Brazil, like, I mean, you see it in a lot of other places. I'm just saying Brazil because it's, you know, it's where I grew up. But yeah, and how music really, it's just always, it's always co-creating the way, right? I'm not going to say leading the way, but music is always kind of there as well, right? And the artists and the music. I do believe that, I mean, even my podcast is about how artists and shamans have like a similar role in society, which is kind of like to foretell and help the communication between realms. But anyway, I think what you're talking about is really beautiful, and I think there are the stronger the movement gets, the easier it will be to promote those things, right? So right now, me, Troy, Basil here, we are, you know, a lot of our efforts, and I mean, a lot of other people on the call here. I'm just talking about because we're creating what we're talking about, the D Studio, right? Led by Basil primarily, which is basically creating content, right? And more creating content in these local communities. I really, the way I see how things are going to unfold, maybe I'm wrong, is that I think we're going to have big circles, and then the big circle kind of breaks into a small circle, and then like we're kind of like creating this big bubble that just breaks, and more we're becoming local rather than just one macro thing. We're just going to be like this small communities, kind of like taking care of themselves and the things that flow. Maybe this community trades with a little bit here, but it's going to become this own little thing. And of course, one of the and as I think you saw me on the group, yeah, decentralized studio.earth, a decentralized story amplifier, growing on seeds. That's it, brother. That's it. I think you even saw on the Telegram group that we are planning to create more and more content. We're planning to create now like a Brazil movement, whatever that is going to be. We have no idea, but the idea is to start to create movement there and incentive there and generate content there. And then the people that are interested are going to start, you know, oh, this is cool. Oh, so what's the value on that? I think value is going to have to be discovered first, right? This is, I think, a great paradigm that it's shifting, right? The idea of value as well. Maybe at first you're not going to be able to pay your rent with it, but I think you're going to understand that you can trade that seeds value with other things and other people, and even sometimes, you know, do some other movements outside the platform, but that's not the main goal. So I think you're going to start to understand the generation of value between your peers, right? And then when you start doing that is when you kind of start creating that movement, right? That circular movement. And then, you know, we can empower those, you know, circles, multidão, as you said, which I honestly wouldn't know the translation. It's kind of like a commotion of people, right? Like, let's all get together and clean the streets. We would call that multidão, a multidão of people, right? So I think that's kind of how I see unfolding a little bit. There might be other, you know, factors that, of course, I'm not counting it in, but inviting those people will always be welcome. And I think we're going to try to create more and more spaces. I mean, that's our main goal. Like, being a lover of the arts is, of course, one of my main goals is it's empower the artists and food as well. Like, I think local, better permaculture, more like eco-friendly ways to kind of, you know, feed ourselves, because I think that's one of our main needs. I do believe those are going to lead the way. Personally, I don't know if anyone wants to add anything on that, but that's kind of how I see it unfolding a little bit.
Yeah, with regards to how you see that, I mean, I've kind of, again, using seeds as the allegory on which to build, I kind of consider our current system as industrial agriculture, but seeds is about creating a mycelial network, where again, that we're all able to, like, you know, wherever little bits of resource are needed, we're able to move it a little bit along to wherever it's like needed here, there. And again, what D Studio and I Am Sound and so many of the other, like, you know, DHOs and projects are, in essence, are the nodes that will come up as the mushrooms in little places here and there, but ultimately all supported by one big network, which is connected. And I think, yeah, the term you used before, is like a big membrane that we're all part of. So I think, yeah, that's kind of how I like to see it, and seeing that, yeah, currently industrial agriculture, just the roots aren't deep enough, basically, which is the reason why the crops fail. And ultimately, I think that is the reason why that, you know, the system that is, I mean, I know in America at least 30% of all the dollars that have been printed are only in the last 10 months. And so it just kind of reminds that money, as ubiquitous and powerful as it's become in its traditional kind of guide, it is a game, and it's a game that's in essence like we're all losing. So time for us to take that power back into our own hands by you know, as we said here, doing the things that we want. I think also the existing monetary system in buying our labor from us forces populations, forces people at large to do things that they don't want to do to be able to survive. But what we're talking about here is doing what you dream, doing what you want to do to be abundant. And so I think when people are begin to understand that story, begin to understand the potential of this narrative, that it will become something that, again, in my own vegan and regenerative ministry, we call it ministry, but what I've learned is that when I'm talking to adults, people even 20 years plus, it's quite hard to get people to bend their ear or their heads to new ideas or to veganism, to regeneration. However, when I do talks in schools with children from anywhere really, or all the way up to in secondary school, because children are yet to set their identities in the same way that we do as adults, and the way that the world forces us to and identifies us, that children are actually so susceptible to new ideas, and ideas that sometimes we as adults might consider complex, but a kid will pick it up in no time. So actually I have a lot of hope for the future, for a new generation of young seedlings who ultimately will become the seed citizens of the future.
I like to add something. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
My dream is to see like the producers of for example, the medicinal plants that a friend of mine do, the oil, medicinal oil. He could give it for people who need it, because has so many people who need this, and he is like stuck to doing and selling for those who have money to buy. But and as you say, the school here in Brazil, many children are not eating well, or just go to school to eat, you know. And it's my dream is to see like the healers, the musicians, the teachers could give their service for the community for free, for the children for free. And we have to validate this inside of our community and recognize these ones that are doing in some way for them to be rewarded by their services. And I believe that it's only possible by the own community, that but has in some way to be connected with the DHO of seeds, you know, and has to be some protocol to enable this kind of local economy to receive these resources to give for those ones who are really giving their services. And that's what changed everything. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for your contribution. Do you have any follow-up comments or anything that you'd like to say, John, Troy, or Milo?
I was just kind of thinking of something that Joao was mentioning, which was like the ability to get access to things that people who don't have enough money or means to get access to. And I was just thinking about the power and potential of money as we know it. And I think a lot of us have witnessed that it has the potential to be a great divider. But of course, the opposite is always true. It has the potential to be a great unifier. And my mind, I was just exploring the ideas of, currency, and the fact that the US dollar is worth X amount. And then if you go to, a country that's less developed, like their currency is generally valued at less. So you need a lot more of that, a lot more work, a lot more labor that you're putting in to get to somewhere that would be a less effort in a country where the currency is established greater value. And that the potential of using the same currency across these different places, and that this currency can be earned, can be created, can be generated by being a good person, essentially, then it has this massive potential to unify people across different parts of the world in a way that we haven't seen before. In the same vein, everything in this world, everything in this reality is an agreement. We agree that the euro, the US dollar, the British pound, or any currency, it has X value because we mutually agree that it does. And when I was trying to explain to my dad, who doesn't even have a smartphone, I set up his email for him when he retired because he didn't have one, a non-work email. And then he had to figure out how to use Google Chrome, which was a nightmare. Explaining Dad what cryptocurrency was. And he was like, well, then why don't I create my own cryptocurrency and call it the Neil? I'm like, well, you can, but then you would have to get other people to agree on its value in order to use it. And he was like, but it's not backed by anything. I'm like, well, neither is the US dollar, really. And the really magical thing about cryptocurrencies in general is that they're backed by the algorithms. And the cool part about the algorithms, which are essentially just a code for an agreement, is that we've aligned them with the values that we have co-created and established as a community. So yeah, that was my mind going off on a tangent. Made a bit of sense.
I think that was a really quite salient point, actually. Again, just reminding me of that point earlier about the direct democracy, because it's something that even before the cryptocurrency had really kind of taken off, but something I thought, funnily enough, watching the equivalent of like American Idol, where all of a sudden you notice that in the UK at least, and I think it's same in America, that more people vote for the winner of American Idol or the UK equivalent than vote for the president or the prime minister. And so it just that reminder that, like, that there is not actually a problem with engaging the populace. It's what you're engaging them for and how you're engaging them. And ultimately, the representative democracy, again, the story, I'm sure, similar both sides of the Atlantic, is there is the equivalent of like gerrymandering or kind of a political malfeasance to kind of make it more difficult for some people and more readily available for others to be able to, in essence, create a narrative which is not representative of what the people want or what the people are asking at all. Whereas if everybody, everybody has access to a smartphone or to a computer or to in greater numbers, then they have access to having photo ID and the means to get to a voting poll and the means to but it's just funny that the same organizations that will allow you to do like Face ID or ID for your phone won't accept that same level of identification for voting or for being part of something, which kind of speaks to the fact that they're not set up to be representative at all. They're set up to in essence, rob people of their agency. And so, yeah, it's just that reminder, I think, as you're kind of sharing that anecdote, what I'd always felt was like, once there became the opportunity for people to, in real time, see thoughts and ideas that they had be tested in an idea lab, where, like, you know, with other people, and like, you know, you can keep on trying and trying again until, like, you know, something that you've conceived is upvoted enough because it passed the test of rigor, and you can feel proud about it, rather than a world full of echo chambers that allow people to believe that, in essence, sometimes the extractive, like dangerous, corrosive information that they're spewing can still be amplified because powers that be are actually supporting, like, you know, things that are destroying our world. So I think, yeah, ultimately the whole conversation that we've had this evening, it's just a great reminder, I suppose, for me as to what is to come. And that point I was making, that as I talk to more and more young people, I know that as, you know, this idea, like, you know, ferments and actually starts to solidify, that it's something that so many younger audiences, I think, are going to be so eager to get involved with, because they're recognizing more and more that, you know, if we are to look at the traditional wealth matrix, that the millennials and the centennials and the Generation Z now have less of the pie than any generation before them. And so the recognition that actually this system doesn't speak to me, doesn't serve me, and is not going to work for me in the long run, makes it far easier to, in that conversation that we kind of began with and coming full circle, actually, I think that there is going to be a great uptake of young people to something that they feel that they can be a part of. So really exciting times, I believe, and really looking forward to how we all, in our different ambassadorial roles as resident citizens, and for you, Jean, still as a visitor, but you'll make it to resident too.
Jay, that you just mentioned, like, young people, and I like, they're such an amazing measuring board, because a 5-year-old will not hesitate to tell you when something is not fair. And Lord knows teenagers will tell you when things aren't fair. But you also see, like, you know, the Greta Thunbergs who are like, nobody's done anything about the environment yet. Like, that's, what the heck, people? And this emphasis that the upcoming generation is putting on empowering the environment and social justice. It's like, it's unprecedented in my life. My life's not been that long, but I've not seen it before, and it's super, super exciting. And I think it's a beautiful practice to, you know, to measure, you know, are we on track or not? Is this fair for the younger people?
Yeah, and I just really believe that, yeah, what we have here, as someone who does so much, I mean, yeah, youth ambassador for one charity, and like basically I do get the opportunity to work with young people from, like, yeah, the age, I mean, obviously my own daughter, my own children, all the way up to, like, yeah, children who are moving on into school, college. But yeah, this, as you said, that reminder that the behavior that we have of acceptance of less is a learned behavior that children, as you quite rightly, like, you know, pointed out, they won't accept it. They think that someone's getting this and they're already getting that. They'll be like, hey, mum, that's, and they will, like, yeah, they'll be in a mood all night. And ultimately it's just, yeah, we condition our children into accepting that things aren't fair, when what's wrong with us? Like, we need to actually, yeah, exactly, like, you know, the opportunity to actually create something fair. Children are not only going to want to adopt it, I really think that it will, you know, hopefully be able to actually then permeate upwards to parents and to families, once, like, young people start to extol the benefits of something that actually not only speaks to them, but actually allows them to speak as well. Because I think that is I think the nail in the coffin of, like, you know, the old system, is that 1% of people get to speak for the rest of us. And I mean, again, not lost on me that in many ways us being able to have the conversation and doing what we're doing here, that, you know, we might not be in the 1%, but we're definitely in the top 10%, like, you know, in that old kind of, like, system. But that again is the kind of percentile system that I also don't want to be part of. I don't really like being part of conversations that are qualified by our, like, you know, proximity to money, or our proximity to, like, you know, these old institutions. I would rather look at how we can better connect with each other, how we can kind of put more onus on our status within our own communities as fathers, as mothers, as parents, brothers and sisters, ultimately as citizens. So yeah, I think unless Troy or Jean, if you have any comments to add in general, because I think that, yeah, we're coming to the end of our session now.
I know Tatsu has his hand up.
Okay.
Hi all. Let me speak. Thank you. Well, it's a great conversation, all. Thank you for allowing me to come in. I just I'm following all those threads of particularly concerning the young minds or children's mind. I am as a speaker for children. But the problem of us adults, what we are all facing, is not about money itself, value, where we adults value. And in children, as a kid, I used to play with rocks and sands, and then if I was given a ball to play, I play earnestly with other kids. And then the ball play was free and nothing else. And now, as an adult, I put an exorbitant amount of value, therefore US dollars in the television shows and football games, and we bet on each other and so on and so forth. So placement of adults' value, that's translated naturally into the money. Money itself is not a problem, but our value system as an adult seems to be corrupted somehow. And that's why the value, the preciousness or sacredness even of air, water, food, elimination, love, all became industry for us, adults. But for children, animals, the world is all free still. And so that's where we kind of have to readjust ourselves to, you know, maybe even inventing a new type of currency so that we don't miss in a translation of value into back to sacredness of life, which is, to me, is represented by air, water, food, land, love, and those things. So that's the basic returning instrument, if you will, or UFO of some sort, that we can come back to our home. And that's how I see it as a currency. And then I have a great hope and with this community and then all the work's being done surrounding development of SEEDS type of currencies. And then it's all, we're headed to at least right directions. And then we can humbly ask for help from our children and maybe even aliens. So that's my sense at this point. Thanks.
Thank you, Tetsuo. Thank you.
So I would like to jump in real quick. I'm recognizing that more and more I'm one of the elders in the room. I don't know when that happened, but there you go. And Neela mentioned that she doesn't remember a time when the youth rose up in such a way. And I remember it. I lived through it. And then what? It's like 50 years and we're still protesting this shit. We're still dealing with this. Come on, people. What happened? Right? And so there's been a lot of talk about the youth, and especially children. And that's the distinction for me between the true world and the new world, is that children still live in the true world. They know truth, they live truth, they understand this is true, this is not. And then just as soon as they can start acquiring things and wanting more than their playmate has, or they want that doll, or that, it changes the dynamic. They don't even understand what that want is, but it starts propagating a delusion of separation that is not true. And so I feel that an emphasis for the youth is so important for SEEDS, because truly what we're doing is preparing the world for them to land into, and something that works for them. That's, if I live to see SEEDS all over the planet, I'm going to be overjoyed, but I'm still going to do the work. I don't know, what the time frame is, but I know time is now. No doubt about that. And so really finding ways to appeal to the youth and to the children in those kind of simple, complex formulas that children understand so well. And I'd love for us to go around and kind of, as this is my room, I'm going to inspire us, and that really this is a chance for us to really come into a deeper authenticity with each other, right? This isn't just an opportunity to talk about what we know or what we think. It really is for us to go in and allow this movement, this current, to create us. Who do we want to be? What do we want? And how do we be that which we want? And so, to me, that's the evolutionary experiment. And we really are the first molecules of this tidal wave of humanity. And as we go, as we choose, so too the rest shall follow. We don't need to worry about everybody behind us, because we're modeling the behavior that we want. And the more that we model that behavior, the more the others will go, oh, that's possible. I didn't even dream it's possible, but it is. Wow, look at that, they're doing it. And the more they're inspired to then work in their own communities, because it has to be centered in their watershed, in the feet in the dirt, their hands in the dirt, and so that's, I have a blueprint, a code that's been sitting in me for a number of years, and the best I can call it is the Watershed Wisdom Council concept. And I brought it to SEEDS because I feel this is the perfect place to incubate it. And I feel for me this week is a secret mission to allow that conversation to open up and invite each other and other people that you know. It doesn't really matter to me which session we're in, because we're going to be talking about this. And whether it's SEEDS, whether it's water, whether it's art in relation to both of those, it's still the same conversation, is how do we create a thriving world for all life for future generations. And so the invitation is for us to really make something of these 4 days, and really take this opportunity and call in our wisdom. Like right now, we are a Watershed Wisdom Council. We're the watershed of the planet. We're the water cycle. There's only one water on Earth, so we are the watershed wisdom. And what's next? And so my question is, what's next for us in these 4 days? What's next for us in this year? What's next for us for SEEDS? What's next for us in our own personal life and how we relate to the world? And so in these last, we have about 20 minutes left, challenge us to begin considering these questions from the future that already exists. Like we're going on this because we already have a destination. The river knows its course. It may not know it knows, but it knows. It knows it's going to go there. It's going to go to the ocean. No doubt about it. Doesn't matter how long it's going to take. It's going to get to the ocean. And so understanding that we have this planetary challenge right now. And we're the ones that are going to change it. So I just ask us to kind of take our conversation even several layers deeper, and maybe just take a minute and kind of feel our heartbeat and feel our unity, and recognizing that we are one life on one planet Earth. And just close our eyes and put our hands on our hearts and know and feel that, and allow our attention to come into the cells of our body. Feel our breath. Feel that life force coming in, that oxygen. That in this magic of life takes the used blood that's coming in through our veins, blue, dark, drained, full of waste, and suddenly turns it bright red again. Feel it nourishing our cells. Feel your breath come in and come into the very sheath of water that is wrapping and holding our DNA. And within this place, there's a pearl of wisdom. And each one of us is here to receive that pearl. To allow your imagination to find that pearl in this place. And feel the Akash, the living DNA of our legacy of angels and ancestors and guides and guardians and teachers, students, friends and family, all that has brought us here to right here, right now. And we pick up that pearl and we recognize it as a seed. And it's a seed that is uniquely our own. It is our highest potential. And in this infinite diversity that every single seed is specific and unique, there's also the infinite unity within it. So now we can give great thanks and bow to the universe for providing us with this pearl of wisdom, this seed of potential. And we come back and lift ourselves up from the cells of our body, and we feel ourselves coming back to our chair. And we still hold that pearl in our hand on our heart. And we recognize that when we come together, we're strung together. Because we've each received this beautiful, incredible necklace. Yeah. Just thank you all for taking that journey with me. Now breathe in and feel how your body might feel different now that you've taken that journey. Notice. And if there's any place that still feels a little scratchy, if there's some hidden residue in the corner somewhere, just take a breath and breathe it out. Let water wash us clean, inside to the outside, with our breath and our exhale. And then with that pearl still planted firmly in your heart, you feel this delightful breeze lifting off and out into the world, out into this Zoom room, out into our own physical locations. We breathe forth the essence of this highest potential. And on your exhale, just feel that consciousness of that which is us go out into the world and find each other where we are on the planet and say hello and greet each other. And with this imaginary hug, we just hold each other, and this great quantum love of becoming. And again, we breathe forth, and we breathe forth this watershed of wisdom that has come to us now, graced us with its remembrance. And we breathe it out into the world so that every child can breathe it in. Every elder can breathe it in and be given the hope that the children will have a beautiful world to live in. Whoa. Thank you. And Joel, as you're the host, I would offer for you to, where would you like to go in this next 15 minutes?
Well, I suppose on the back of having that peaceful moment, that oneness with all of us, I think it could well be good to maybe round off with points of gratitude, because yeah, I think for me as well, knowing the nature of, say, maybe even some of the other calls and work that I've had to be engaged in today, and then noticing just the difference in the pace, the aura, the vibe of the conversation that we're having here. This reminds me that I think, like we were saying, that what SEEDS and what even World Unity Week and like what they have in common is bringing together, as you said, those early adopters, those people who recognize, like, you know, the citizenship, the stewardship, the brothers and sisters that we are to each other, and the protectors of Mother Earth and of all of our sentient brothers and sisters. I think, yeah, it's just a reminder that conversations can be different, that you know, that narratives can be different, and that ultimately all it takes is for us to make that change together. I think, like you said, there is just that, like, you know, 50 years on, that same fight, like, you know, why are we, like, you know, laughing off and going like, no worries, same again tomorrow? We have to say that enough is enough. We have to, like, you know, realign, reconcile our relationships, but especially our relationship with our environment. So yeah, for me, I think that I would like to, I think, as you maybe also mentioned, that maybe even going around with, if everybody wants to, like, maybe, like, you know, say a word or two of gratitude. But for my part, I'm just very honored and grateful to not only been able to host and moderate such an interesting and informative conversation, but to be able to be part of a network and a collective with people like yourself, Elizabeth, and everybody here, who I look forward to being, like, you know, partners, accomplices on this journey together, not only into the game of SEEDS, but to carry on as stewards of our world and of each other. Hand over to anybody who would like to jump in and say something.
I'll start. My words of gratitude are immense. Maybe we're gonna look at you guys closer. Hi. I think I'm gonna look at the camera. Hi guys. Can see the soul, can see the eye, right? It's really beautiful. I feel seen by all of you, and that's so important. It's not an ordinary thing in life to come across amazing souls and amazing warriors of light. So I feel really seen and accepted. I feel like finding, part of a soul family, genuinely. Before meeting Seeds, I felt like I was just grinding in life and struggling to be seen in the full potential that I feel like I can deliver. And I really appreciate you all for delivering that back to my soul, the power of being seen. So my gratitude is for all of you and Mother Earth as well for, of course, carrying us all in this amazing, journey of life. My music is nothing without nature. I literally count nature in my work hours. If I'm scoring a big project, I put 1 or 2 hours during the week to be in nature to kind of clean my pipes. So I am nothing without nature, and without it, we are nothing. So it's a pleasure to, also be part of a movement that has that in its ultimate goal. So I appreciate all of you. I will pass it on since she's right here. Nyla, you're right on my right here.
Thank you, Jian. So I feel heard by the sound guy. I just want to thank Joel so much for this beautiful facilitation, and Elizabeth for that powerful meditation, and my incredible colleagues Tian and Troy, who are doing amazing work. I want to give a little sneak peek about the coolness of what it is that they're doing. Troy has identified personality types, and Jian is tailoring music future project to the personality types so that it tunes into their own frequency, which is just amazing. Like the level of coolness, and the people that I get to work with today are just it's unreal. So it's just a really, really incredible gratitude that I have, that I've been welcomed into this universe. So thank you. And I'll pass to Troy.
I think Troy left. Maybe he had to leave.
Ah, okay. Then I will pass to the incredible and almighty Basil.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, I want to express gratitude for everyone coming together with the shared dream or intention, vision, even before there were the actual manifestations and tangible results of our efforts. Because what we're doing is going to require so many thousands and millions of people working in harmony. That's going to take some time to get to that level. And so this first group of innovators that have come together around the world is inspiring, to say the least. So thank you to everyone at Hypha and SEEDS community and all of the collaborating movements, trying to learn how to get along and how to work together, and how to create enough space for every child, all of us, to live, to play, to learn, to grow, and to teach at the end of the day. And we move in those cycles. So yeah, it's working. Still a small movement, but everybody here is amazing. Thank you. And I will pass to let's see, Cassius, if he can tune in. He hasn't said anything.
Yes, I can. Thank you. Yeah, I'm echoing that. I'm grateful for this movement and for having met you and being here. And I'm especially grateful to Elizabeth for that meditation. It was short, but it was deep. Thank you. It was good. Very good. I'm glad that happened. And thank you all for coming and for creating this beautiful space. And I'm glad to be here with you. I'll pass it to Sarah.
Thank you, Cassius. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for today's call. It was good. Yeah, it's been an interesting day at SEEDS that's started over 15 hours ago, but I'm still here and still getting on with things and still enjoying working with beautiful souls who have the very best of intentions. And that's really refreshing that we're all here for a shared purpose and we will make magic happen. So thank you everyone for being on the call and sharing your wisdom. And it was really a beautiful call, beautiful journey tonight. I'm not sure who's still to go. As Tatsuo spoken?
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. Beautiful conversation, beautiful soul communication. I so appreciative of this opportunity, and I'm with, of course, sense of gratitude to everyone, each one of you, and with a connection in particular to with a word that I'm going to leave this room with is being an encouragement. Thank you. And I'd like to pass my talking stick to, who else haven't there? How about, is Miguel still there?
Miguel is still on board. Hello, everybody. I'm checking in from Uruguay, South America. And was interesting to hear all these voices and the conversation. Thank you for being here and sharing. And to Moran, if he's around, or her. Who else do I have here? How about Sarah?
Moran let me know that she's monitoring the call, but she may not be able to speak. So.
Yeah, I've already gone.
How about Glow?
Okay.
Or there she goes.
Hey, I didn't catch all of the call, but I think that you're doing closing notes.
Mm-hmm. Closing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm super grateful to.
Grateful, yeah.
What am I? Oh, just answering it without. That's nice. Yeah, I'm super grateful for World Unity Week and for everything that's going on right now. I think that we have this amazing moment in time and this opportunity to really unite and activate and ignite the fire and the flame within each one of us to co-create the new earth. And if all goes well, I would see a new story birthing for humanity and to start onboarding projects within the SEEDS ecosystem and beyond to start creating the new news, so that becomes a new narrative, and so that we focus on a specific project daily, well, eventually daily, but so that we can bring the resources, the people, and the funding to each of these projects. And I'm grateful for this, the sun, the beautiful sun here in Los Angeles right now, and the water. And I am looking forward to restarting the Academy of SEEDS And right now I am building an eco map, so I'm mapping out and also documenting and interviewing all these amazing eco entrepreneurs who are providing closed loop solutions to single-use plastic so that we can reduce our waste and start regenerating and supporting this small local economy, because that's how it really will change, is by our attention focus and where we put our energy and our time and resources and value. So thank you so much for everyone who's here, and I'm looking forward to hosting our event tomorrow and bringing people from Africa together and all of these different organizations who are shifting the narrative. We have Oceanic Global, which is an amazing nonprofit. They're coming to speak tomorrow with a bunch of other entrepreneurs coming, so I'm excited. And that's at 12 to 2 PDT tomorrow on the 23rd. Thank you. Aha, namaste.
I think Joao and Chuck are the two voices we haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I can go. Thank you so much. But this conversation was very inspired, and I'm just about to have a gathering with my community, so I feel inspired to do it. So thank you so much. I will need to explain and to really give this inspiration for my local. So yeah, I sent a message for Gian in Telegram. Gian, if you can read, you can help. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day, peace, and much love.
I guess Chuck is the last one.
Yeah, Chuck, I think it's the last one, if you're still there, Chuck. Maybe Chuck isn't there, maybe he's away from the screen for now. So I think if that being the case, that brings us to the end of our session. So I think really just like to thank each of my panelists. Nyla, thank you, John, and Troy, who's no longer here. I'd really like to thank Elizabeth as well, whose room we're in and is the key host for World Unity Week, and the work that, met Elizabeth on World Water Day a couple of months ago, and just the same spirit, the same energy, just so grateful for that meditation too, and in essence pulling from me the reminder of gratitude. So really grateful to have had the opportunity to work with you again here today. And thanks also to Basil and to Kimberly as well, who've helped quarterback in the background too. So thank you everybody for attending and being part of this session, this evening. And I really look forward to us all being able to connect again sometime in the near future. And in the meantime, continuing the conversation on all of our digital platforms. In the meantime, also, I would recommend on your existing social platforms, going and giving World Unity Week a follow and keeping abreast of the rest of the program for the rest of the week. There's some really amazing stuff happening too. So thank you, everybody, and good night from me here in London.
Thank you. Did a great job.